Ridiculous, oh my goodness, did I really space out that bad today? No.
Thank you, Ann. All right, we are back in session. I don't see any COSs here, certified or certificate of surveys. This is adjusting journal entries. We did vote on this last week. This is for the month of April. And I think just to make sure that we follow the agenda, we should just have another vote for the record. Better to have two than not enough.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I do have that EA, Tim, if you want to take a look at it.
Oh, this is the resolution.
Mhm. And whenever you guys are ready, I'd entertain any motion on those.
Okay.
I'm just looking. I'll make a motion that we grant approval for the April journal entries.
Second.
Yes, been moved and seconded to grant approval to the April adjusting journal entries. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. All right, and last week when I gave out both April and May, we already approved May, but both were in blue clip or black clips like this. This is all I got back of May. If we want to take copies to someone else to get feedback, to get input, that's okay, but originals cannot leave the county. So those other adjusting journal entries needed to be copied and then taken out. So we need those back. And I will make a note, but we need those back. I only got 16 back from May, and that's about a third, maybe.
I went through
Maybe
the
closer
stuff
to
in my
a quarter.
car. I don't have them.
And you called and said that too, so, I just wanted that on the record, that, for some reason, 2/3 to 3/4 of the May adjusting journal entries just were not returned last week. Also, well, we'll wait for Mike on that. We have this coming up. So, since we have 5 minutes, do you guys wanna do Commissioner's Community Update?
Yes,
All right, who wants to go first?
trying to stop and think where I was. Go for it first, Franklin.
Okay, well, Harold and that Charlie had met, and Harold called me on that TV billing, and
I just hate this candy, so I'm gonna be mumbling a little bit here. Stuck in my mouth. And then what, the big problem, there's an air conditioner in there, and it's shot apparently. And so that was a cool day when they're up there, and it was 120 degrees in there. And so they're losing these channels, because it'll get so hot, it automatically shuts the stuff off, and when it cools down, then these channels come back on. So that's been that reason for that coming and going. And so, and Harold had done the legwork and found all this LG unit, it's a combination heating, cooling unit and everything. And so I called Elaine and went ahead and I ordered it. He found where that Home Depot could order it. So I called them and they got it ordered and it hasn't come in yet.
Well, I think it's important to get it done,
Yeah,
because we're headed into hot weather,
yeah.
I'm feared, and
And like I said, that day, it was a cool day. Well, I forget what day it was, and I called you, I made that remark to you, it was cool today, it was 120 in there. To see all this stuff, and there's no other vents in there. A lot of these will have an automatic vent, you know, but there's no other vent for that,
well, and just for the sake of it, to show in the minutes, I think we need to make it a motion to do that. To have it in the minutes that it has been ordered.
Yeah, well, yeah, that'd be good.
Also move.
I'll say.
It's been moved and seconded to okay the previous ordering of the heating and cooling unit for the TV tower. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. And on that, for the record, I would appreciate, as the third member of this commission, and someone who is completely left out of this, an email that is sent to all of us, informing all of us of the situation. I think it's unconscionable that just one commissioner is called and the other one is left in the dark. You have a responsibility to the full commission, Franklin. So, anything more that you did this week?
Well, I don't see anything wrong there. There's something that had to be done. I guess you can send out emails, whatever, but
Yes, I would appreciate it in the future, thank you. Elaine, what'd you do?
I'm drawing a blank, I'm sorry.
All right, you want me to go and you have something in
Yes.
jars? All right.
I'm sorry, I'm having a senior moment. And don't put that in the minutes.
Too late.
There were a couple of things last week. The Chamber of Commerce had their business card social, and that was well attended and ended up being at the commercial because it was too cool to have it at Heritage Park. Let's see, I went to the fire district meeting, and they are getting another vehicle. Ed is just flying back to New York to get that $163,000 vehicle, and their cost is $0. So
He is unreal.
that's what they've talked about is since hiring Ed, he has saved them more than he cost them as an employee. I
Oh,
think
yeah.
that's pretty accurate. Shows the power and the how good employees can be such an asset. LEPC was this week. We got an update from Sean on the mitigation grant in detail with all the players there. Slice of Summer was this week. Well attended. I think we had a record attendance.
As
Not
cold as it was?
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, it was, we bought 250 buns and had one bun left over. So,
Double eaters.
yeah, there you go. Yeah, to stay warm maybe. But we had an Emmy Award winning violinist there. So I think that's also worth note.
Was she good?
She was great. She was great. And then they jammed afterwards for, I don't know, half an hour to 45 minutes till the mosquitoes started carrying away the instruments. Then they thought they better go. So,
So mosquitoes bad all over town?
mhm. Yeah, and Virginia and the board's hands are tied, they just don't have the ability to get another truck yet. They have no place to put it. So it could be a bad mosquito year in more than one way. So something. for
They've
us
got
to
one
keep in mind.
tractor, don't they?
They have one. Yeah. So the other thing is, that I think needs to be talked about just real shortly, is the Department of Revenue. This was probably the most important meeting that we've had since I've been a commissioner. This was the Department of Revenue meeting that Harold had asked us to attend, and Doug was gone, he was on vacation, so he had asked me to attend in his place, and then Harold sent an email and said, commissioners need to go too. So Debbie played Doug, she went, and then I went and represented the commission. 35 counties were represented, and basically what Department of Revenue wants to do is evaluate some of its practices and put forth some legislation that counties would be responsible for property assessments. This was something that Seal Poley from Pell County gave detailed history about how the assessors were lost, the big bill, all of that from years ago that so many of us who are newer don't know. I won't even try and repeat it because I will miss some things, but it was invaluable to listen to her input. She's retiring in November, but she's gonna volunteer to come back and fight this bill on a voluntary basis, so that's how strongly she feels about it.
Well, and FYI, she was an assessor when all that took place.
So she really does have.
She really does have the
inside
background.
knowledge. Yeah. One treasurer also piggybacked off of Seal and shared history and insight from the treasurer's offices. Doug had provided email to Rhonda since he couldn't be there. But as far as the treasurers go, they were kind of split on whether they would support this or not. The commissioners, what I thought was interesting is we broke out separately at one point, and the commissioners, some of them said, you know, my treasurer's okay with this, but since the other commissions, since the other counties feel so strongly, we will support you. And so the commissioners were unanimous opposed to this. One comment that was made is, well, if Department of Revenue doesn't get the legislation, are they just going to do an arm anyway? And the answer was a veiled yes. Yeah, we'll be looking into that. So, this is a really serious issue, and it was a good meeting. It was about 4 hours, and it was really good. Both Tyler and Black Mountain were there too. Debbie went to Black Mountain, I went to Tyler. So, there's an email synopsis of the meeting from Rhonda Wiggers, and I'll let you guys read those for yourselves, so you get them kind of firsthand rather than my take. So, that's it. Did that help dry your memory?
Yeah,
Oh, good.
we did the canvas last Tuesday.
Yes.
Neither one of you guys mentioned that, but
Nope.
I wasn't the only one there. Another, I'm drawing a blank.
Well, that's important, thank you. All right, with that, we are at 1:45, Mike Conkey, DES update.
Good afternoon, Mike.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Great seeing you all. I guess
It's been a while.
it had. Long lunch.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, we'll start with my, I'll just kind of be brief, won't take too long. I just try to list here different things we're working on. We're still in progress of updating the community wildfire protection plan. And then, last year I put out a wildfire incident response field guide. I think I gave commissioners copies of that. We're gonna update that. That had different phone numbers and stuff. Try to get that updated soon. And of course, LAPC meets every month on the third Thursday at 3 p.m. Training, since we last got together, Deputy DES Coordinator Julie went, and she's also taken ICS 300 and 400 incident command training. And of course, Virginia already had that stuff. Getting them trained up so when I'm out of town, they can fill in for me. Mitigation efforts, I go over to Helena usually on a monthly basis to that Tri-County Fire Safe Working Group. We've also been pushing hard on the Deep Creek flood mitigation FEMA grant. Sean and I went out Thursday morning, talked to some of the landowners. We're going to do it again on this Thursday to try to finish up. These are the private landowners that have been identified in that grant that may have some desire to do some mitigation work. Remember, that's a 75-25% match, and federal government's coming up with 75%, and any private landowners want to participate, they have to come up with their 25% for the local, or non-federal match, I guess they call it. I am in the process of preparing notice of intent for the Dry Creek flood mitigation grant application for County roads. Also, Thursday morning, Sean and I spent some time with Dana. We started down there on Flynn Lane, where Dry Creek comes under Glen Lane there at Bill Davis's. During the March flood, they had a lot of water coming down Deep Creek, as well as they had to breach the Broad Run Missouri Canal there to take the pressure off it, try and keep it from breaching downstream at the silo at the Shelley Lane. So they had to dig across. The culvert was not big enough, so they dug across. So Flint Lane was closed for about 2.5 days, and that's a school bus route. And it's also a mail carrier route. So what they had suggested is putting about an 8x8 box culvert, so it'll handle all that water. And then Dana and Sean and I went on up Dry Creek, and just as you get underneath the power lines there, Dry Creek Road goes real close to an irrigation ditch there at the Davises. And that's kind of a hazard, somebody can, not a very deep ditch, but they got running water in there. Thought that perhaps we could use some of this mitigation money to move the irrigation ditch over. And then if you get into that Iverson property, just before and after Rick Meyer's home up there, a lot of that water comes off that field. They kind of have that as a pasture now. So it's water, snow melts and runs into the county road and washes it out several different places. So we drove all the way on up to actually the S curve, the old schoolhouse, the highest schoolhouse, in those different areas. Looked at it. So we're going to put together a application for some federal money. This came from the 2014 FEMA flood funds. Our county gets $110,000 to reimburse the road department for repairs. This is in addition to that. Different counties can ask for mitigation projects. And since we were one of the 19 counties that declared, the local government declared emergency, the state did, and then the governor did, we have the first chance to get some of these monies. But it's not all used up, other counties can apply for them. So when B and I are in the process of preparing that. And let's see, also I'm working on a series of landowner fire preparedness and mitigation ads. I'd like to put in the local newspaper for some stuff and start those probably here in July. Try to remind people to prepare for wildland fire season, and as well as evacuation stuff. Some of the stuff we put out from Tri-County Fire, you've probably seen before. We have an evacuation guide for the Tri-County area. And some of these materials we put in an advertisement. There you go, folks. We'll put some of this material out in the newspaper, try to. That'll be done through a Title III forestry fund. We get that money earmarked for fire lines, fire safety stuff. Moving on to Homeland Security grant applications are pending. Our EMPG grant, they're going to we've applied for refunding on that. That's half federal, half local. That kind of pays for the DES coordinator's salary, expenses. They'll probably announce, award those grants probably on the 7th of July. We have a District 3 DES meeting in Bozeman, get together in Mount Pryor. So they'll probably make those announcements at that time. We also have a pending two-way radio Homeland Security grant we put in. That includes radios for, I guess I list that down here a little bit. That's pending. We have a pretty good idea of getting that money, pretty good chance. Nothing come through yet. We came on the cutoff, and it has a lot to do with the recommendations Montana DES makes to the governor's office. And if the governor's office leaves the recommendations as is, we'll get the two-way radio communications grant, probably our final phase of radios, and a backup generator for the Emergency Operations Center. That would be the 4-H building. Collaboration efforts, we've been working with the Soil Conservation District on the Deep Creek Restoration Project. They have a separate EEQ funding, and we have a FEMA funding, arguing flood mitigation. There's water quality stream enhancement for fish, wildlife, and irrigation projects. We have been supporting the volunteer fire department with some additional two-way radios for them. We're bringing trucks in, we got to put radios in. We got some new firemen, we got portables for them. Same with the ambulance service. They're due for a lot of portable radios. Their vehicles have new radios, but the crew does not at this time. Search and rescue, we have in that Homeland Security grant, we have 15 radio portables earmarked for search and rescue.
Nice.
And bridge crew, we put radios, the mobiles we put in their vehicles. Sheriff office had bought. Dan put those in here this spring. But Dana needs a couple handheld radios for himself in case of emergency. We're also, that Homeland Security for the radios will affect the local school district. Some new radios for the buses that will be on this trunking system. along with other emergency responders, and portable radios for the school administrators. I think we have 3 radios portables for the administrators. Coming to the end of the list there, the DES office, we have a interlocal agreement by Lander County Gas with the city of Townsend that is quite old.
Thank you.
1985. And I would like to update this, bring the proposal to the commissioners, working with the county attorney. And we need to update that to talk about a disaster committee, and now we call it the local emergency planning committee. We cooperate, we're kind of interjurisdictional. Both county and city government, municipality government have to have emergency planning, coordinating a plan, emergency operations plan. Ours has always been a joint effort between the two. And that's the agreement, and that's on file right now downstairs in Clerk of Court's office. I think we need to update that for the next meeting. So we're working on that, bring it down. That's the Charles office. And let's see, I'm also working on a mission statement, long-term strategic plan for the DES office, what do we want to do. And the last item I want to bring to your attention is the temporary interim DES coordinator position. It expires on the 12th of August. This is the interim DES coordinator position description that I'm operating under, and I will prepare this and bring a update for the permanent position to the commissioners part of next month. And
It says it's 2 pages.
yes, there's 2 pages, but they didn't print on the back. Well, I will email you all a copy of the front and back. Well, I fed it. I fed it to that copy, never checked. And helps me out. I'm not very good at that stuff. But anyway, I'll get it to you. Just want to bring that to your attention. And I'd recommend, if you're going to recommend advertising outside the county rather than filming just in-house. I think that's fair. I might get a good pool of candidates. I'll probably apply for it, but I think it's just fair that I just kind of think that's the position we got now. Advertise if I get somebody better or not. That's your choice. It's your selection. But that's all I have to talk to you about. Anything you have questions for how we're doing on DES or where we're going? Fill out things pending on grants. Well, we hope they'll come through. Some will get, some won't.
How do you feel we are sitting fire danger-wise?
Well, I think it was summed up pretty well today. I think of all the emergencies we could have in our county, we are in the best position for a while. We have this infrastructure with the Forest Service. They have a couple engines down here training crews. And we also have DNRC in Helen. They have engines, crews, helicopters. And the Forest Service in Helen also has a heli-tac crew. And we have a good working relationship with the fire departments. Fire departments have got good communications plan. We have some good leadership in the fire department. We got those 6 stations. And when we get a fire call, all those agencies and all those resources roll. Down the southern end of the county, we crest mutually right away. Gallup County uses 3 Forks or Willow Creek, or they'll bring other stuff, ask, and they deliver the same way. They want something, we go out, and also our departments will get it. Well, I think we're sitting pretty good. Now, there's a lot of grass up there. These rains, the grass growing, and yes, it will dry out soon. How many, late July, August? Could be some fire season. Depends on lightning strikes, and depends how much wind we have. And most of these fires we get a handle on. We don't have strong winds. There's strong winds, they just blow, take off, they don't go for miles. Just get out of the way. That's a big job for the sheriff's office, get ahead of that thing, that way people close the road, get the people out of the forest. And the Forest Service helps with that with their law enforcement officers, close those areas and get people out. Sometimes they'll fly in there, helicopter, get backpackers in and stuff. That's why I want everybody to register backpackers. So if something happens, they don't get hold of it. But I think it's too early to tell. We could continue these 3 or 4 day showers coming in here. Some of them have been really terrific, but that grows a lot of grass. That grass is great for the element. cattle in the forest. And we just need more cattle in the forest, to eat more of that grass.
I didn't say
That's
that.
patronizing, I'm sorry, I apologize. But I don't know, it all depends. Now, I'll remind the commission, I'm still on the Northern Rockies incident management. This will be my last year. I'm notified them I'm gonna train somebody to take me. And if I'm out of town, well, then I'll try to get, get Julie or Virginia to cover for me. But, Virginia's gonna go out with the incident management team also, Bob Fry's team. She's a public information officer, not a regular member, she just goes out on her assignment basis when we need her and stuff like that. But if things are real bad in our county, my team, I can get away. I've got some people that, tell my secretary. I got people, Pat McCallie's on our team, he's trained as PIO or liaison, he'll just take over. And come back. The first day or two, or first hour or two, I just, give myself coverage, coach them. I think Virginia and Julie are very good. They don't Julie doesn't have the incident management experience, but she's got some class training. But I think we have an active fire season, she'll get baptized by fire. And Virginia's very good. She's well trained in all the classes. On a team, she can take command. She's a public information officer. Same with her. She's out on assignment with the fire. Call her incident command about 5 minutes. Got to come home. Get home, come home. Spend what we're at. But hopefully, we don't have it. Just keep trying. Throw that ground. Cows can eat. Anything else?
Get the hay up first.
What's that?
I said, might get the hay up first.
Oh,
Get hay up this winter.
Gotta get hay. We do have another piece of business here.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I'm really encouraged by the ICS training that Julie has done and Virginia has done as well. I think that's excellent.
Oh, it helps our county out. 'Cause,
Yeah.
Someday we're gonna have a big train wreck, another big fire, Hebgen Lake will breach. We'll always scramble.
Yeah. There's something we haven't thought of.
Or something we haven't thought, that's true.
Yeah.
That's correct, yeah.
But we do have a letter. This is for the,
Pre-disaster
pre-
mitigation grant.
thank you, yes. And I took one of your secondary paragraphs and just added it to the
Cool.
letter. The rest of it is what you would put together. So this is a support letter for the second mitigation grant.
We
Right.
have a 2009 pre-disaster mitigation grant plan for each county. Remember Pam did it
Sorry.
for Big Sky mitigation. She and her husband no longer do that work. He's with the fire department because they have a son that has cancer. But she doesn't do that work. So we need to update that every 5 years. And if we don't update it, then we don't get to share in the field disaster hazard mitigation money that we're asking, that we're using now at Deep Creek, and we're gonna request for Dry Creek. That'll be a good project, because eventually the county road crew is gonna have to put those bridges and do those things in, and that's gonna come out of the Roundwater County taxpayer back pocket. But if we can get some money, I don't know, Sean was studying to see how big of those culverts should be, first data on the real big ones, and that's good thinking. Some of those, you've been up Dry Creek's been washed out many times since I've lived here, and you've lived here a lot longer than I have. Closes the road completely. There's a lot of traffic there during the summer months, cattle drive, and then hunting season. There must be 150 vehicles going one way during hunting season, and they all come back at night. But mainly, there's not a lot of residents, but there are gonna be some residents out there. They got a lot of property for sale. So that road should be upgraded, prepared to handle that. To go around, those people either have to come up on Ridge Road and go on down through by Betty Shears there on Grayson Creek, or they have to go to White Sulphur Springs or Battle Creek and come out clear down there on, where's that, Ringling, isn't it? Yeah, that road
Rings
comes out.
over, back over by the.
Yeah, that's a long ways
Newman Ranch
around.
there.
That road washes out. As we get people up there, of course, then they wanna go to work, the kids can get down to the bus, stuff like that. So it's just a long-term project. We may not get it, we're just gonna ask for it, see what happens.
Don't ask, you won't get it.
That's absolutely right. So I think it's a good project, and there's money available for mitigation projects. Any other thoughts, questions? And this is a endorsement saying that if we get that money, we're asking for about $10,500. Me and I are still working on it. She's out of town until 2 days from now. We have to submit this on the 25th. And we have to have 25% local money. It does not all have to be direct cash. It can be some in-kind match. And so it'll be a combination of both. It'll just use what's in my existing budget now, I believe. And my budget, let's see, we got some worksheets that Debbie sent out. I gotta start working on that. There won't be any increases. Matter of fact, I'm giving some money back here on Monday, on the 30th of June. Sending it back to the general fund, because I didn't spend it.
Excellent, thank you.
Good.
Good.
We should have a vote too on the letter.
I will make a
Support.
motion that we send a letter to Kent Atwood, Montana Disaster and Emergency Services, asking for a grant to be considered.
Bill was there, would be PDF, but it's pre-disaster mitigation grant. That what this letter does is makes a commitment, says that if they give us about $7,500, or $7,500 of federal money, we have the other $2,500 to match it, either in dollars or in kind. And that has to be a decision by the Board of Commissioners. I can't be going out getting grants and making
Does it
commitments.
just specify for this Dry Creek project?
It's just for the, or whatever it is, no, it's just if we submit we might expand it, Commissioner. We might add a few other things. We haven't, me and I are still working on that.
Well,
I don't know, if you can think of anything, Dana's thinking, he's always thinking of stuff. It can be anything for flood mitigation. Doesn't have to be related just to Dry Creek. So we're not just calling it that. We might have something on the other side or other types of projects that relate to the road crew ideas.
And with so many of the things that have happened and the way that Mike and Sean have worked together on this, we've been able to match these grants pretty much to date with in-kind, not with having to find the cash.
Yeah, or another source of funding. It just has to be non-federal match.
So it could be other grants,
State
right?
money, it could be other grants, state money, DNRC money, or it can be in kind, or it can be private funds. It just has to be a non-federal match. We can't use another federal fund. We can't go over to NRCS and ask them for some money. We could ask for them, but we can't use it as match. They do have a good program too. So that's all that is. It's just a commitment from the Board of County Commissioners that if they give us some money, we're prepared to match it in some capacity, in direct money or in kind. A lot of the stuff I do in kind, you just keep track. Every time you go to LAPC meeting, you gotta sign in. And you sign that in, and then we get credit for everybody that's there for 1 hour. If they're not federally funded, Forest Service people, it doesn't count, Bob Fry doesn't count for me, because half of my salaries are reimbursable by the feds. And then FEMA has a rate, I think it's $22.75 per hour, volunteer rate that we get to use. Montana DES keeps track of this, clear down to penny. Matter of fact, it's a lot of paperwork, more than I prefer to do. Too much, but anyway, you know, the bureaucracy, federal
Oh,
bureaucracy,
yes.
they just love to push me. Anything else for me?
No, but we do need a second before we sign this letter.
Oh, I thought we did. We did a motion, I'll say.
It's been moved and seconded to sign the letter to DES for a pre-disaster mitigation grant. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye. Aye, motion carries. Tim, did you have a question?
I do, Madam Chair, for clarification. Mr. Conkey, you have on your presentation here the two-way communication final phase for $173,000 that's moving forward in that final
Yes.
process. My question for clarification is, next you have 5 different entities looking at radios. Are those in addition to the $173,000, or are they part of the?
They are
original?
part of it.
Okay.
I just broke that apart to show, one of the things I'm evaluating in my job description is how I collaborate with other agencies and departments.
Perfect.
And I was just breaking that out. There is some, actually there's some radios for the city fire department, which I failed to mention there. And I think that's the only other agency. Oh, there's a couple portable handrails, I think, for public health nurse, because they help us as part of our disaster plan, particularly mass casualty or evacuation of the hospital, they have a role to play. And you probably remember that when we did that.
Thank you.
Those are other emphases, I forgot those. I ran out of room, I tried to leave everything to one page.
Thank you for that.
And anything that goes more than one page, I have to cut something out. Delete. Thank you.
Is there anything you need from us? Mike?
Nope,
Okay.
great, work with, great county.
Mhm.
Haven't been fired, so I can ask you.
Absolutely.
Doing good.
Well, thank you.
Well, thank you very much, appreciate it.
Thanks for the job you're doing.
Well, thanks, it's fun, actually. Just wish I had more time. Summer is tough. Being a farmer, you know, irrigator. I got a couple farm projects. And then, I should have got out of this incident management team thing, but I didn't have anybody trained on it. Person I had decided not to do it, but I think we'd be all right. I'm training 2 people this year. That'll give me some time to stay home.
I'm kind of sorry to hear that, because it sounds like it's something you really love.
It is fun, but you know, you have to set priorities. I just can't tired of sleeping out on the ground in a tent and get too old for that stuff.
I can't blame you.
They
for
feed us
that.
good. We all know. Any questions? We're ready for it out here. Thanks.
Thank you, Mike.
See ya. Have a great summer. I'll be around.
All right, next on the agenda, we
You
have,
can copy that letter.
yes, and we'll send a copy, but for you guys as well?
No, for our class,
Oh, yes, yes.
because I saw Mike take it now.
Oh, did he take it? I didn't even notice. Okay. Yeah, I'll just ask him for a copy, or else I'll just print another one. Thank you, I didn't notice. Next, we have decision adopt resolution on environmental assessment for Deep Creek grant. So that's what we have this morning. All we need to do is pass that and we're good to go.
I'll make a motion then that we adopt the resolution for environmental assessment for Deep Creek for the mitigation project.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to sign the resolution adopting environmental assessment for Broadwater County Bridges study grant for the Deep Creek mitigation grant. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. There you go.
I have a Rocky board meeting on Thursday. And the new director is gonna be there.
Excellent. I think that's wonderful.
I got to meet her earlier when she was down here to be interviewed for the job. I think she'll do a good job.
I think that Kurt has done a great job, but I think she's gonna have her hands full. But Rocky's going in the right direction, so
Oh, sure.
kudos to you guys as the board and also to all the folks at Rocky. I know that employees have really been,
They've been great.
yeah, what I hear from department heads is that they've given up an awful lot to keep Rocky going. Salaries, benefits, that kind of thing, so kudos to them. Yeah. Couple of reminders, Wednesday, we have a meeting at Winston. We have John Tester's staffer Shannon coming on Wednesday to see us at 10, and then coffee before him with Corey at the Highway 12.
Not, Tester's not this week.
2nd of July,
Yeah.
yeah. So, anything else for the good of the order?
Yeah, just leaving this morning, John Wright calls me. And I don't know, on the spraying up there, apparently, and maybe people are, I wish I should have, when Mike was here, I don't know anybody. Anyway, I guess John was supposed to be notified they're gonna be spraying or something, but he said he's on his way to the hospital for his eyes. Wanted me to stop spraying. I just said I would bring it up. I don't know what really is taking place. It's BLM enforcers, I believe, that's doing the spraying up there. I don't know if we're even involved in it. Maybe Ann might know more on that.
Franklin, I've been out of there for over 12 years. I don't know what's going on in that department.
Yeah, I guess I should bring this probably.
Yeah.
I didn't think you,
No.
seemed like just yesterday you were still doing it.
My understanding is that Scott is working with John, making sure that he knows what.
Okay,
But Scott doesn't have any control over what BLM or Forest Service.
well, I guess what really was upset, he said he's supposed to have been notified, and he was notified this morning at 9 o'clock. Anyway, that's basically what it was. Like I say, I told him, I said, I know what can be done, and he wanted me to stop it, you know, I can't stop it. But anyway, I told him I'd bring it up, and, so everybody's aware of it, and I'm sure we'll hear some more about it.
I think a little bit more detail is probably important here. I got a call from Scott this morning. He advised John some months ago that this was gonna be the day that they were spraying. John had asked him, please let me know so I can be out of the area. Scott said, okay, let him know months ago. A couple of weeks ago, he called John and he said, okay, this is the date, gave him a second, advise. And then this morning, he called a third time to say, okay, John, today's the day. Then he got, apparently John said he was going to stop the spraying, and I don't have the quote with me, I have sent this on to law enforcement. He was going to use his gun to go ahead and close the road and stop the spraying. So, those are the details we know. It is Scott that's spraying, it is part of the grant, I understand. It is the county weed that's doing this, so he's followed all the steps he can. And those are the details we know at this point. So,
Well, Anderson, I thought maybe they were doing some aerial spraying, but I don't know.
and that could be, we have access to that. But I don't know what the motive it is, I just know that Scott's followed every step, every process he can to keep people as advised as he can on that. So, any other questions on that or any other information for the good of the order?
I just have one comment, and I'm concerned about John threatening people with his guns. I hate to think of the day that comes that it's more than a threat.
And of course, that's been happening all over the country
Mhm.
recently.
Oh yeah, not just here.
No. Anything else for the good of the order? All right, we are adjourned.